Imagine you're walking through the streets of 19th century London. The air is thick with the scent of smoke. Horse-drawn carriages clatter on cobblestone roads, and the pubs are filled with laughter and the clinking of beer mugs. But then, without warning, you hear a loud, thunderous crash, followed by the unthinkable. A wall of beer, hundreds of thousands of gallons, comes surging down the street. Within moments, buildings crumble, people are swept away, and the neighborhood is in chaos. This isn't the plot of a bizarre comedy. It's a real-life tragedy. Welcome to the Great London Beer Flood of 1814. Our story begins in the heart of London, at the Meux Company Brewery on Tottenham Court Road. At the time, beer was a staple of everyday life. This brewery specialized in producing dark porter ale, a strong and popular drink of the time. And to meet demand, they stored their beer in massive wooden vats, some towering over 22 feet high and holding thousands of gallons of liquid. But there was a problem. The vats were old, reinforced by heavy iron rings that had been showing signs of wear. Workers had even noticed one of the metal hoops had come loose, but no one thought it was urgent. After all, these vats had held beer for years. What could go wrong? At around 4:30 p.m. on October 17, 1814, disaster struck. The weakened vat holding 320,000 gallons of beer suddenly burst, unleashing an unstoppable flood. The force was so great that it knocked over other nearby vats, creating a chain reaction. In mere seconds, over 1.4 million pints of beer were rushing into the streets. The flood wasn't just a small spill, it was a deadly tidal wave. The beer smashed through the walls of the brewery, sending bricks and debris flying. A 15-foot high wave of ale crashed into the nearby St. Giles Rookery, a densely packed slum where many of London's poorest families lived. Homes were instantly destroyed. A nearby pub, the Tavistock Arms, collapsed under the pressure, trapping a young girl inside. Cellars where families often lived became beer-filled death traps. With nowhere to run, people were swept away by the flood, some drowning before they could be rescued. By the time the flood settled, 8 people had lost their lives, some drowned, others crushed by falling debris. The disaster left many families devastated, their homes destroyed, their loved ones gone. But in true London fashion, some saw an opportunity. As the streets filled with free beer, locals rushed in with buckets, mugs, and even their bare hands to scoop up as much as they could. Some reports even claim that drunken revelers tried to drink directly from the street. Needless to say, it was a bizarre sight. So, who was held responsible? Surprisingly, no one. The courts ruled the disaster an act of God, meaning the brewery wasn't liable for any damages or deaths. In fact, they were even given a tax break to cover their losses. Despite the tragedy, the Meux Brewery continued operating for decades, though they never stored beer in such massive vats again. Today, there's nothing left of the Meux Brewery, and the streets of London look much different. But the Great Beer Flood of 1814 remains one of the strangest and most tragic industrial disasters in history, a moment when an entire neighborhood was quite literally drowned in beer. So the next time you raise a pint, maybe spare a thought for the beer flood victims of 1814. Because sometimes too much beer can be a really, really bad thing. If you enjoyed this bizarre tale from history, don't forget to like and subscribe for more weird and forgotten stories. And let us know in the comments which historical disaster do you want us to cover next. Cheers.